I've been like, honestly, the day was gonna come. I didn't know when the day was gonna come. Can we watch the montage again? I'll probably upload it either tomorrow or Sunday. The day was gonna come. It was just a matter of when the day was gonna come. So the other day I was just like, what was it, Thursday? I don't know what day. One day this week I was cutting up my old streams for my previous streams for YouTube Shorts. And I was like, there was like noticeable. I mean, I know I can always be, I'm critical, but like lately it had been like, it was much more noticeable to even myself that I was just getting more and more negative, and I don't want to be that way because I obviously have like 1,300 hours in the game, made tons of videos off of it. All of you are here because of it, more likely than not. Maybe some of you are from before that, but I'm just tired of being, I don't know, I just don't want to be negative about it anymore. So there's it was gonna happen. It was just a matter of when it was gonna happen. So it's now. The original plan was wait until the next update comes out, mess around with that, and then decide after that whether or not what I wanted to do going forward. But the other day I was just like, I'm done. I don't care anymore. Nothing I say at this point nothing I say is going to make any difference. So they already know what they're doing. So that's just kind of how it's going to be, right? I think the tipping point for me was watching that live stream the other day and seeing so many people excited for all the stuff they were showing off. And I was just sitting there on the completely opposite end of the spectrum. I was so disappointed that there was literally nothing that I cared about in it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to just sit here and just crap on this new update. I said what I was going to say about it. And hopefully the people that like that kind of thing like it, and that's fine. And honestly, if it comes out in 2 weeks and maybe they put something out that's completely unexpected that nobody thought would happen, I'm definitely going to look at the update. I'm going to see what they put in it. But right now, it's just kind of everything's just building stuff. And I don't really personally care about building stuff. So that's it. But yeah, I mean, look, I get it. The people that are like awesome, like into building and stuff, that's cool. And that's fine. Like, you guys are going to get all the stuff you want. For people like me that are on the opposite end, I mean, I don't mind building. I did building a little bit, but at this point, it just doesn't seem like, it's just not, I don't know. So we'll see what happens when we'll see what happens down the road. But I mean, it was inevitable, and it was just a matter of when do I make the decision. And like I said, originally I was going to wait until probably I was going to try to ride it out through the rest of the year, because I figure the PTS comes out in 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks after that before they go live with it. And that's what we'll do. And then we'll see what happens. It would have kind of lined up with like games that are coming out in December. So I cannot sit here and pretend that I'm enjoying. I'm not having fun with the game anymore. That's just the matter. It's just, after you have 1,000 hours in any game, it's kind of hard to have. I can't even remember how. There's very few games that I've played that many more than this game. So I can only think of like 2, maybe. One definitely, maybe one other one that I played more than this. But both of those games were constantly getting updated and stuff like that. I've never played a game for 1,000+ hours that literally was like I've never played a 30-hour, 40-hour game that has for 1,000 hours. It just doesn't happen. Yes, Fortnite Save the World's #1. I'm pretty sure I played Halo 2 for more than 1,300 hours, because I played Halo 2 for several years, like every day, playing multiplayer with my friends. So I might have even played Halo 3 more than I played this, but definitely, I know Fortnite I did, because between Battle Royale and Save the World, I have like 5,000 hours. And then Halo might have been Halo 2. I'm pretty confident I probably had like 2,000 hours in. I don't know about Halo 3. I played it a lot, but I didn't play it as much because that's when I started I didn't like all the gimmicky stuff. But you cannot put 1,000 hours into a game, no matter how. Like, I played Valheim for 300 hours, and I loved like every minute of it. But I haven't touched it in months because it actually might have been like a year, because I just don't. It's the same thing over and over again. So just gotta wait for something. They're supposed to be having a trailer next week, gameplay trailer. So if the gameplay trailer, maybe they're gonna have the Mistlands update sooner rather than later. That would be fantastic. That's one half of it. The other half of it is kind of I knew what was going to happen when the game came out. I knew that the game was going to skyrocket in popularity for probably... I was expecting it to trail off pretty quickly, honestly, because anybody who's played the game long enough kind of knew that the game was going to have probably, I don't know, like a month or two of content for most people. And by every measure that I'm looking at, it seems like the majority of people have reached that point where they're kind of done with it. So outside of the hardcore people that have been playing since probably July of 2020, or maybe they jumped in during early access, they, yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're the only people that are going to still be playing it a month or two from now. I believe the TV series will be successful because it's going to be a cartoon. It's going to appeal to children and people that play this game, so adults too. I will definitely watch the TV series. Definitely interested to see what they do in that game. I mean, in that television show. I mean, I'll definitely watch it. I watched the Camp Cretaceous television show with my kids. That's just like a Jurassic World spinoff. So, I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch the TV show when it comes out, and maybe maybe the TV show will time out with like a big update. But like the big thing for me right now is the 1.1 update is mostly cosmetic from what we've seen, and then the quality of life stuff. There's not going to be any more. There's not going to be any new content. They mentioned that it took them a year to do the koi pond, a year to do the undershed. I wonder if they were saying that just to give people kind of an idea that if they're even allowed to continue working on the game for that long, it will probably not be until this time next year before you'll actually see a new biome or anything new like that. Even if they're planning it, like if they're planning a DLC, it'll probably take them a year to do it. So if you can stick around that long, that's great. The great part is, you know what? You can just take a break, and if they add stuff in a year, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whenever they add it, you can always just reinstall the game and play it again, right? And just pick up from where you left off or start over. But I don't know. We'll probably do a 1 or 2 shot stream for content updates. I mean, I'm going to join the public test server in 2 weeks and see what's in there. And if it's exactly what they showed and nothing more than just kind of the cosmetic stuff, then I'm not going to play it. I mean, if somehow they just completely surprise us and add some kind of actual content, in my mind, like, I know for some people the building pieces is content, but for me, that's just cosmetic stuff. I'm talking about like actual gameplay content where it would give you something new to do, like just putting down new chairs, using more stuff. But I don't even use the stuff bugs. I don't even use the wall mounts. I mean, I just don't do it because I tend to build compact bases. I'm not trying to build like a giant mansion and then I have to defend it. So that's that. I mean, hopefully if you like building the stuff they add, hopefully it works without, I'm really kind of curious why they're doing a public test server if there's not new content. If they're just adding cosmetic stuff, it's kind of interesting they're doing a public test server. But hopefully if you were excited for that last live stream, then you will like what you see, and that'll be that. And hopefully you'll enjoy it, and you'll build your crazy bases and share pictures in my Discord and on their Discord and on Reddit, on YouTube, and wherever the hell you share pictures. And that'll be great. I hope you enjoy it. So is there anything I need to know to join the public test server? I have a video on how to join the public test server. I will definitely play Valheim when the Mistlands update comes out. Valheim is showing a Mistlands gameplay trailer in 4 days. So what is that, Monday? The 22nd Monday? Yeah, so next week on Tuesday, they'll be showing a Mistlands gameplay trailer, which hopefully means the game is coming out. The next update's coming out this year. That would be fantastic. No, to join the public test server, you just opt in. I mean, you have to download the app on Xbox, or on Steam, you just join the beta. So the grounded storyline is way too short, and the side quest gives you suck. The storyline is perfectly fine. The storyline was perfectly fine. It was the storyline was fine. I was expecting the story to be 20 to 25 hours. From the beginning of the early access game preview, they said that they are the story. So from the beginning, when the game first came out, they said that like 20% of the game was in the very first game preview on like July 28th, 2020. I read an article right before it came out, and they said this is 20% of the content. And when I played it, I was like, wait a minute, you could do everything in like an hour. And I'm like, there's no way that's all of it. So then I was like, okay, that can't, but the gist of it was basically the story was never going to be more than 15 to 20 hours. That, I mean, I mean, so the extra time is literally, if they stripped out, okay, let's say they did this. Let's say they added sliders in the game, like they have an arc where you can literally just be like, like in arc, you can bump your XP up, right? To like 5x or 10x. Or you can, whatever you want to do, right? Let's say they had sliders in Grounded where you could be like, my upgrade stuff's going to cost 90% less, and stuff like that, right? Basically eliminating the grind. Or when you get if you get like when you harvest a bug, you get, I don't know, 200% drop rate of resources. Literally removing all the grindy stuff that they put in. Everyone would have finished the game from the start in like 15 to 20 hours. The only reason, so grinding makes it more challenging. No, grinding is a waste of time. Grinding resources is a waste of time, is time wasting. Okay, it is not more challenging. More challenging is making tougher enemies, having enemies be obstacles to progression. Forcing me to go collect a bunch of rocks or dig up a bunch of grubs is not challenging. It's literally just time wasting. And listen, most games do that nowadays. Most games do not want your game to be, they don't want to spend tons of time and lots of money on developing a game and then have everybody beating the game in 5 hours and then quit. Like, especially if this game's only $40. Imagine like a $60 game. And like the Ubisoft games are a perfect example. I haven't played a Ubisoft game in so long. The Assassin's Creed games, from what I've seen from reviews and from hearing people that have played talk about them, they're essentially grind fest. They're like, okay, we're charging $60 or $70 for this game, so we're gonna add all this extra nonsense in there, so it takes you 60 or 70 hours to beat the game. Instead of just making the game 20 hours, selling it for $20 or $30, everybody can play it and move on to the next game. But yeah, that's the thing, man. So this game has a bunch of fluff added into it like every other game does. And I expect that in every game nowadays. I don't expect to be able to just go into a game, do everything efficiently, and then just be done with it. So that's just it. Why can't they make the upgrade stone respawn? I don't know. I literally don't know. I mean, that was one of the things, honestly, if they would have said during that live stream when I asked, if they would have said during the live stream when I asked, I said, I asked, are you going to be doing anything with the upgrade system? And they literally said, we're not even looking at it. We're not even looking at it. And that was that. That means that it's going to be 2, 3, 4 months before they even consider changing it or even have any. So this update is going to come out in 2 weeks, the PTS. The update will go live sometime mid-December, and then they're going to take Christmas off. Most likely they'll be off from Christmas through New Year's. They come back in January. If they're allowed to continue working on the game, if they're allowed to have their full team, it's going to take them, what, a minimum of a month or two to probably put out any kind of update for the... Don't talk bad about any content creators. Whether or not you think I like them or dislike them, just keep your opinions about other people specifically to yourselves. I don't call anybody out by name, so please don't do that. You don't need to ban anybody for that, but just don't do it. You can disagree with what they say, that's fine. You choose who you want to watch. If you want to watch me, fine. If you want to watch them, fine. I don't care. There's going to be plenty of people still making content on this game you can watch, but just like I would not want you to be in their channels talking bad about me, don't come into my channel talking bad about them. So anyway, they're not gonna make any changes to the upgrade system until January, February, March, if they even do it. And for me, that was kind of like, as I'm playing through this WoW mode literally got to the point where it was like, it's not fun. It's literally not fun anymore. The lower yard was okay. I mean, obviously I got frustrated when I was getting one shot by things, but at the same time, I got to a point where I'm like, I can't even upgrade the stuff I want to upgrade. I'm going to have to go waste I'm going to have to go waste hours and hours and hours trying to like grind resources just to be able to upgrade to do the next thing. And that to me is like, it's not fun. Like, I don't want to have to do that. If I want to choose to do that, that's one thing, but I don't want to have to do that. think the overwhelming amount of info about this game speeds me through. If I had any outside influence, it would take me forever to finish. The game doesn't really direct you outside of where the chips are. Other than that, you can do whatever you want. I like that. In fact, I wish they didn't even tell you where the chips were. I wish Burgle would have literally just said, go to the hedge, go find the first chip in the hedge. Okay, well, I'm going to look on the map and see, where's there a giant hedge? I'm going to go over there and find it. After you return that to him, then he says, go find the next chip that's in the koi pond or something like that. I don't know. Or after that, he tells you do whatever you want to do. So that's it. I finished the group game, but that's why I won't be finishing my solo game. I was doing solo and group game. I finished the group game, but after seeing how long it took for the group to grind away for things, I have no plans on spending that much time to finish off solo. The only benefit is going to be for solo is you're going to have more resources available, but you're going to have to get them by yourself. So the bottom line is, no matter what, you're just not going to... It's just going to take forever. And, like, there's other stuff. There's some stats I want to look at. So, like, aside from the main reason... The stuff I'm going to talk about after this was a factor, but the main reason is I am not having fun with the game anymore right now. Hopefully, when they add updates, I will definitely check them out. But I'm not having fun with the game anymore right now, and I'm tired of being negative about it. My negativity and my criticism have not resulted in any changes recently. Now, they did change the upgrade systems many times during early access, but at this point, whether you agree with me or not, the stuff I've been saying, nothing has happened with it. The AI for the bugs is still broken. They're not changing the upgrade systems. The progression in the second half of the game doesn't feel like it's right. More than half the games feels like more than half the game's optional. The drop rates on resources are just like punishingly low. You have 1% drop rates on gold cards and trinkets and stuff like that. And if they just added sliders in for those things, then it'd be fine. It's your tone and attitude on how you say it, that's why. Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I can't change the way I talk, dude. What games am I going to play? We'll get that in a second. And then, like, the other... Like, they're not... I want to talk about some stats. I have some stats that I kind of... So I have some stuff... This is the other stuff that I wanted to talk about before I conclude. These are some of the other things... These are some of the other things that I didn't put in my last video. I was going to put these in a video and I just never got around to doing it. But aside from the fact that I'm not having fun, there's just other things like these things. And up here, I basically have two categories here. I was going to make a video about this today and I just ultimately decided I'm not doing that. I don't feel like doing it. So the first section I call deception. This is, I don't know if that's the right term. I don't believe that things are hidden maliciously. I believe that things are hidden because it is basically the difficulty in the game is because of hidden things that are in the code that have now been data mined, and now it's out there so people can see the real story. So as an example, some creatures have hidden defense. So the weak creatures have no defense. Tier 1, some of the tier 1 creatures have like 3, and the maximum is 40. So Director Schmector has 40 defense. What that means is if you hit him with an attack that does 100 damage, you were immediately losing 40 right off the top, so you're only doing 60. That's why the boss fights, excuse me, because the bosses tend to have high defense, and some of the beefier enemies do, it's why it takes longer. Many creatures have hidden resistances between 25 and 70%. So when you look at the creature card, you'll see that creatures have weaknesses and resistances, right? So like, I'm just going to pull one out that I know is definitely correct. The red ants are weak to spicy. So you'll see the red ants I think they're weak to spicy, either 25 or 50%. It doesn't matter. They're weak to spicy. But what you don't see is that if a creature might be weak to spicy, but at the same time, they might have a 25% resistance to everything. So that means even if they're not weak to sour or chopping or something else, you're still only going to be doing 75% of your damage. Some of the bosses have up to a 70% resistance. I think that it's either Schmector or the Broodmother or the Mantis. I don't know. Some of the bosses have up to a 70% resistance during some of their phases. Another one's going to be Broodmother shows a weakness of spicy slashing on her creature card, but during the fight becomes resistant to both. Again, I feel like this is not something you should be doing in the game. You should not tell somebody that it's something, an enemy. You add a strength and weakness system, fine. You have us figure out what the strengths and weaknesses are, fine. We upgrade our weapons, fine. And then you have a boss who you literally tell us is weak to this, but during the fight, after the first phase, she essentially becomes resistant to both spicing and slashing, and that's why when you're hitting her with your Coltana, after the first 25% of her HP bar, you'll notice that suddenly you're doing far less damage. It's not because she suddenly got a magic shield around her armor, it's literally because a math behind the scenes is making the same weapon do less damage. All boss fights are artificially made harder by hidden resistances. Every single one of them. All the bosses have resistances that are not shown in the game. And the reason for this is because they could not design actual hard boss fights. They made them bullet sponges. Instead of giving them more HP and actually having, like, you know, if the Broodmother just had more HP, she could still be weak to spicing and slashing. So if you use the right upgrade, you'll still kill her. But just literally, like, double her HP. Problem solved. No. So that's the same thing with all the bosses. The bosses, instead of having more HP, they just have these secret resistances that you guys don't even see. So go check out the damage calculator, DPS calculator, that I've shared many times and is on one of my YouTube videos and on Reddit and stuff. You'll see all this stuff. Buffs can provide 0 or greatly diminished benefits due to hidden resistances in the minimum damage threshold. I showed this the other day on stream. Some of the enemies, like as an example, I'm pretty sure it's the director is, it might even be the Mantis too. The director is weak to sour. If you use the sour trinket, it gives you the same extra damage as the spicy, as the salty, and the mint because of the minimum damage threshold, which means if you don't reach, if you're not doing, so let's say you're doing 100 damage, but because the enemy's defense and resistance, you would only deal 20, you're automatically going to get 25% of the damage. So you're going to get up to 25. And I'm not going to go too deep in the math to give people a headache. But essentially what ends up happening is instead of that trinket giving you 15 extra damage like it should just literally just give you 15 true damage. It doesn't. It gives you a reduced amount of like 3 or 4, something like that. So what ends up happening is there's a lot of buffs in the game. And this is the frustrating thing for me. They added all this grind into the game. They added all these 1% drop rates. And you expect me and you guys to play the game, grind it for dozens and dozens of hours to unlock mutations, to unlock armor sets, to upgrade the armor sets, make smoothies, foods, and stuff like that, upgrade weapons, only to have some of them not even provide a benefit. One of them I know for sure was like the Javelineer. It was either the Javelineer against the Mantis or against the, it might have been the Director. Javelineer is supposed to give you 20% extra damage. Against, I'm pretty sure it's the Director, it gives you literally 0 extra damage. So you'll think you're doing extra damage. It does absolutely nothing because of its defense, because of his defense and resistances. And just to let you know, the way the damage is calculated is you take the damage you deal. Now this goes for both you and the enemy. So if you deal 100 damage, you subtract the defense of the enemy. So if an enemy like Schmechter has 40, so if I deal 100, it's going to be 60 times the damage resist. In his case, the damage resist is 70. Let's just get a calculator out real quick to show you what these numbers would be. So you think you're doing 100 damage. You're going to subtract the 40 for defense. So now you're only doing 60. But if it's at the end of the fight and he has a 70% resist, although I don't know if he has 70, it might be the Broodmother. Let's just say he has a 25% resist, because I know he definitely has a 25% resist. You're only going to be doing 45 of that damage. You're literally doing 55% less damage than you think you are. And it just becomes like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Maybe other games are doing this stuff, but I don't know. So that's how you calculate it. We were told by the person who designed the system that the way it was supposed to work was damage resist gets calculated first, then the defense. The data mining has shown that's the complete opposite. So I don't know if they changed that at some point, or maybe when they told us about it, they just incorrectly gave us the information. And then disappointment. This was the second part. Nothing from that live stream the other day. The most common question I saw was, are you doing anything about co-op? At this point, they have no solution for co-op. They literally just said, if you have co-op issues, please share videos, let us know, report them. Honestly, there's been co-op issues since day one, so it's 2.5 years later. I think if they could fix co-op by now, they would have fixed it, but that's that. The update is going to mostly cater to builders. I've already talked about this. So let me get out my little handy dandy. Do I have my, yeah. So I just wanted to quickly show this. So basically, the way I look at this is there's 2 kinds of players in this game. So we're just going to draw 2 big circles, drag this one over here, check it. We're going to drag this one over here. Well, they're going to overlap a little bit. So we're going to check it. So basically what you have is you have builders, which we're going to label as B. So builders are over here. These are people that love building. and only love building. That's all they care about. They don't care about actually playing the game, the survival part of the game. And over here, you have the people that care about the survival, right? So you have the builders and the survival people. And then obviously there's a mix. There's some people that fall in the middle. So this update that they're doing right now, the update they just did basically caters to, we'll just do green, caters to these people and these people. So for the rest of us that are over here that only care about the survival aspects and only build because we have to, we are left out with this update, which means that's just it. We're not, like, there's literally nothing in this update coming that's going to make us want to play. At this point, the backpack space is great. What else is there? The hot deposit thing they're fixing, the going up zip lines, those are great. But they're not making, like, I've already beat the game. There's nothing for me, like, nothing they're adding is making me want to, like, keep playing. So that's that. What else? They're not making any changes to the upgrade system. I've already talked about that. In my opinion, nothing they're adding is adding replay value. So for me, I don't know. Base defenses actually take away the enjoyment from the game. Well, that's fine. Literally have the ability to turn them on and off like they do. There you go. Then you solve everybody's problem. And then, like, down here, I asked the data miner, Sean, for this earlier today, because I was curious, because the other day I was like, man, I need Tough Gunk to do everything I need to do, right? So he gave me the drop rates for Tough Gunk, which you'll see here. Hopefully I'll move them up. So as you can see, not one enemy that drops Tough Gunk has a 100% chance to drop it. And I don't know what the numbers were before 1.0, but I can tell you from the amount of Tough Gunk that I had and the amount that I literally destroyed or didn't pick up, that before 1.0, the drop rates for Tough Gunk, the drop rates for Black Ox Horns, the drop rates for other parts were definitely higher. Definitely higher. So, like, again, this is literally a number in the code. You could literally just make this 50% chance for 4, and you can make it 100% chance for 2. Done. 50% chance for 4, 100% chance for 2. I don't know why whatever you want to make it, and then just give more. But that's literally like and the same apply, like Black Ox Horns, 50% drop rate. Name any resource in the game, and almost nothing feels like it has a 100% drop rate, but you have to acquire them to get them. I wonder if they have a new story content in future updates. They did leave the infected part at a loose end, like the infection spreading, so maybe a reason to return the yard to eradicate the infection. Possible. I'm not sure if you were here earlier, but based off of what they said, with it took them a year to do the koi pond and the year to do the undershed, I would imagine if they have any new story content that they could possibly add or DLC, it will be a full year from now. At the earliest, it will probably be 9 months. So you're looking at summer next year to the end of the year next year in order to be able to have new content. So that's that. I mean, I don't know. And so, like, these are just stats, right? These are stats. Like, these were things that, like, on top of the fact that I wasn't having fun, once I found out all this stuff, I was like, so not only did you make us grind more, but you're punishing us, because before you could this is the reality. If they didn't have all these hidden resistances and defenses, you'd slaughter everything. I don't want that either. I want the game to be difficult. I don't want the game to be super easy. But the way they went about doing it, I don't like. I don't like the fact that they're artificially making the game grindier by literally having this formula here. And let me just tell you, I know this is easy to do, to fix this, because me and a couple friends made a mod for Scrap Mechanic where we literally made the game harder by having the drop rates for things different than what they were in the game, because in that game, the drop rates for things were, in some cases, they were like stupidly high. In other cases, they were stupidly low. It was literally going in the code and changing a number from 50% to 100%, or from 4 to 3, or from 4 to 6, whatever. It literally would take them no time to do that. So and then the last thing was, like, looking just at the, like, stats and stuff like that. And so this is the Google, I have 4 little charts here for this game. Google Trends for Grounded. If you go to Google Trends, google.com/trends, and type in Grounded and pick the video game option, this shows you the interest in the game all the way back in time. I went back to April of 2020. I believe I think the demo for it came out in May, and obviously this is July. So you'll see here, the way Google Trends works is it goes from 0 to 100. This looks at Google search. So basically how many people are searching it. 100 will be when the game is most popular, and then 0 is when it's the least popular. So of course 0 was way back here before anybody cared about it. But you'll notice that the maximum popularity for this game in terms of interest overall was when the game launched back in July of 2020. And then of course, because it didn't have much content, and because it didn't get much content for a while, it fell off. It had a spike here at the 1 year anniversary, because I think that's when Shroom and Doom came out. And then it kind of just levels off here. And then, of course, as expected, it skyrockets for 1.0. And not surprisingly, has quickly fallen off a cliff. I believe this little uptick right here is because of the 1.1 announcement. So I think that's what it was. So I would guess if you look at this in like a month, this probably keeps going down. But essentially, this is just showing kind of what I expected. Big up spike and then trend down. And then the next one, I'm going to have to hide my camera for this one for just a second. So what I did was I know my stats for my channel. So the first one's my channel. Now, this is from Social Blade. Social Blade is not 100% accurate, but it is in the ballpark. And honestly, these don't even matter for numbers. They are basically showing trends. So what I did was I looked at my channel, and I looked at 3 other channels that primarily cover Grounded. And they're larger channels that primarily cover Grounded. They might cover other games periodically, but they primarily cover Grounded. And basically, these stats look like this. All of us had around the same, like everybody's like, look, this is subscribers on the left, views on the right. And this is weekly subs, weekly views. So as expected, kind of just chugging along here. 1.0 comes out, skyrocket. I think it was like 3 weeks after 1.0 was like the pinnacle for me at least. And then the number of subscribers I was getting, this is not the number of subscribers I have, subscribers you're gaining. So like as long as it's up here, anything showing here is a plus, right? So I think I got like 1,000 subscribers one day. Now I'm back down to getting like 200. Same thing for this channel, same thing for this channel, same thing for this channel. Over here we have views. You'll notice 1.0 comes out. My views go from like, I don't know, this is like something like 10 to 20,000. Well, this is weekly. So this would probably be like, I don't know, 100,000 to 150,000 a week, up to, I got like 7 million views last month. And then it's slowly starting to fall off. The other channels you're looking at here have fallen off much harder than mine. Probably, I'm going to guess the reason for this is twofold. Number one, I've been uploading a lot of YouTube shorts, which have been getting a lot of views. And number two, I have a lot of evergreen content, which means you can watch it today or 6 months ago or 6 months from now. And in many cases, it'll still be relevant. While other people don't have as much evergreen content. Obviously, everyone started creating guides and stuff. But any kind of stuff like, and I do this too, is like if you do an update video, if you do, I don't know, talking about the Mantis way back when or whatever, any kind of stuff like that, that is like, has interest, like an update video has interest for like a day or two, and then like it gets no more views. So you can see here what's happening is everybody's views and everybody's like subscribers are slowing down. Views are falling off a cliff for everybody. I've been okay and have kind of like leveled off, but everybody else you can see is having a precipitous decline here. This is Twitch viewership for Grounded for the last 30 to 90 days. The left is 30 days. You're going to notice here that this is the average number of viewers a day, and it's trending downward. Obviously, these spikes, somebody's streaming it today with like 17,000 viewers. I don't know who the hell it is, but it's like it's not an English speaking channel because it didn't show up on mine. Essentially, these spikes are usually when like a variety streamer streams it like one time, but it's trending down. This is the last 90 days. You'll see here, very little viewership. I think it was like 2K. I think the average on Grounded was like 1 to 3K. Obviously spikes up. The purple line here is going to be your peak viewers, and then the blue line here is going to be your average viewers. So obviously right after 1.0, massive peak because there was lots of big streamers streaming it. And then of course, they beat the game in a week. So the bigger streamers that I saw streaming this on Twitch specifically were CoCarnage, Glad. Those were the two biggest ones. I think CoCarnage probably had 10 to 20,000 viewers for it. They both beat the game in like 1 to 2 weeks. And then then they just stop playing it, right? Because they move on to the next game. So that's why the viewership's tanking. Now this shows trending up, but it's only showing trending up, honestly, because it was so low back here. If you draw the line here, it looks like this where it's trending down. So the viewership on Twitch is falling off as well. I'm going to imagine, I mean, as I showed, the YouTube views are also falling off. So, and then the last one's going to be Steam charts for Grounded last 90 days. Unfortunately, we don't have the numbers for Xbox or Windows, but more likely than not, they probably follow this trend. This is the last 90 days, so basically nothing. I mean, not nothing, but I think the average players on Steam was around 2,000 to 3,000. Then it shoots up to like 25,000, and now it's gradually down to where it's like, I think the average now is like 11,000. So it's lost, what is that, 60% in the course of a month and a half. So basically, what all this amounts to is that, in addition to me just not enjoying the game anymore, right now, I'm not saying I won't enjoy it in the future again, all the statistics are saying now's the time to get off. Like, I'm not happy, and it's time to move on, and everything's pointing to that. So, most popular was the free... Actually, that's also true. If you look at the Steam charts, the most popular weekends... I'm sorry, the most popular peaks in the past were all free weekends. And the fact that it didn't get much press from Xbox, it was never in the top 50 on Xbox. If you look at the achievements, I didn't even show this. The achievements for the game, in terms of people completing the game, are very, very low. Like, I can show you the Steam achievements in a second. So the main ones here are going to be... These are Steam global achievements. Now, mind you, if someone played the first day the game came in early access and never played it again, they're still counted here. So none of these are ever going to be 100%. That's not even reasonable to expect. I did look at other games to see the comparable numbers, but the main ones here are going to be that only 37% of the people saved Burgle, which literally you can do in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game. Only 15.8% completed the Hedge Lab. 13% completed the Pond Lab. You're noticing here they're falling off. 7% completed the Black Ant Lab. So only 7% of the people on Steam that have ever played it even got all the super chips. And then down here we go. Where's the... Go big. 0.9% of Steam players ever that played this game have finished the game. Now, by comparison, when I looked at... We'll actually look... Let me look at it real quick because I don't want to misquote. I believe Raft is much higher. Raft is the most similar game that I can think of because Raft is a story-driven game. And let me see, what's the achievement for this one is called something about Utopia. There is a Utopia. So as you can see, the final achievement for beating Raft is 8.5%. So the completion rate for Raft is approximately 9 to 10 times higher than, about 8.5 times higher than Grounded. So that's pretty bad that only that many people are finishing it. And then if I go over here to the Xbox also, Xbox shows it as well. So just to show you the achievements are not completely out of line. The Xbox ones are mostly in line with it as well. And we look at... All right, which ones are we looking at? The Burgle one. Okay, so we got Black Ant Lab. Only 3% of players that are playing on Xbox or Windows. Only 3%. That's worse than the Steam number. Worse, because I think Steam was 7%. What other one are we looking at here? Pond Lab. Only 5% of players on Game Pass. What this is telling me is a lot of people downloaded this on Game Pass and never finished the game. Only 20% saved Burgle. So the Steam numbers are actually double. Steam was 37, this is 20. Only 7% finished the Hedge Lab. I'm on Xbox and I did all labs. Congratulations, you're contributing to these small numbers here. Go big. Go big. I guess I have not finished. I finished it on Steam. I haven't finished it on here yet. Only 0.41% of players have finished it on Xbox. Achievements are turned off in custom mode. Apparently most people play on custom. I've played on custom and gotten achievements, and so have other people, so maybe it's not... Well, I mean, listen, I can only tell you... I'm just looking at the stats here. 0.4... I mean, the Steam stats were bad enough, right? So, the gist of it is that... And thank you, by the way, thanks so much for all that information you've been sending me over the last couple weeks. The gist of it is most people have stopped playing the game, and most people... Actually, I would say the majority, which would be more than 50% of people that played the game, didn't finish it and aren't playing it anymore. And I would think the super majority of people that had played the game or started playing it in September have stopped playing it. I mean, all the numbers are showing that. It's literally showing it. So, only story-related achievements are disabled. Oh, well, that might maybe that's why. I don't know. So, all those things combined have just kind of like, yeah, gets old to commit to this game. After the Hedge Lab, it's a grind fest for ages. I don't know. The first half of the game was okay. The second half of the game is like super grindy. I think they made the second half of the game super grindy because there's literally nothing to do in it. I think that's just it. That's the only logical conclusion. The first half of the game, you have 4 labs to do. Well, yeah, 4 labs plus all the optional stuff. You have optional boss, all the mixers down there, and then you go to the upper yard and you beat the game. So I think that's probably why they made it grindy to get the upgrades, because essentially you're going to get to a point where you're like, okay, if I'm playing, I guess if you're playing on mild, you can probably beat the game without upgrading. If you're playing on medium, definitely on WoW, you have to upgrade your weapons and armor. You cannot win if you're not upgrading your weapons, because no matter how good you are at perfect blocking, you're going to inevitably take you're going to take damage, and you have to be able to kill things in an efficient time. Survival games are grindy. Yes. And when the grinding's fun, that's fine. When the grinding is literally to slow your progression and you don't get any as I showed a minute ago, a lot of the grinding, you get no benefit out of it. None. Actually, I want to check something real quick because I didn't do this. I'm going to check the little DPS calculator to see if my suspicions about something were right. Only 25% of people unlocked a mutation. That's the highest percent for any achievement. That gives you an idea how many people are playing on custom without achievements. But somebody just said only the story-related ones. So that would only be the labs. The mutation's not a story-related thing. So the time to kill with the Spicy Coltana for a Wolf Spider, 6.4 seconds with a level 5 Spicy Coltana. If I change it to level 1, it's 7.7. We got 7.7 at level 1. Then at level 5, 6.4. So if we divide that by 7.7, you're killing it 16% faster, 5 levels. Basically what I did one day was I looked at upgrading, if you upgraded your weapon, like in some cases, the number of hits it took by the this was not using all the hidden resistances that I didn't know about. In some cases, like upgrading weapons made almost no noticeable difference. So from the time you would be like having a level 1 sword to a level 5, I think it was the Spicy Coltana, it was like 1 hit difference in terms of killing a wolf spider, whether it was level 1 or level 5. And that's what I'm talking about, the grinding stuff. Like if you're grinding the resources to upgrade stuff, you should be noticing it. You should be noticing it. Like you should every time I upgrade my weapon, I should feel a noticeable difference to it. It shouldn't be so little that I can't even feel the difference. Right? I don't know. The only achievements that are still enabled in custom are the photo mode one and the basketball hoop one. That's whatever. Dude, listen. I haven't finished the game yet. Should I finish the game? Why would you not finish it? If you like the game, finish it. I've finished the game multiple times. That's like kind of it. Honestly, Grounded is not much of a survival game. It's a race to upgrade your armor and weapons to tear through bugs, spam things on the dirt, and call it a base. It's not survival. It's king of the hill. 5% is tough, but I don't know how they would scale it better. I mean, I suggested that they only do 3 upgrades, with each one of them being like 25%. So you use the first level upgrade rocks to go 25%, the second to go 50%, the third to go 75 or 100, whatever the hell you want to make it. Very simple. Because the way the game works is by the time you've gotten the good gear and you get all the trinkets and stuff, or get any of the trinkets or mutations, you can blow through the tier 1 and tier 2 enemies. But who the hell cares? You could already do that anyway. You need that against the tier 3 enemies. And no matter how strong you get, outside of a very few builds, you cannot just tear through tier 3 enemies. It just doesn't happen. The bosses aren't fun. They're just for extra points in the report card. You don't have to do most things in the game. I bet I can beat the game with tier 2 armor. I mean, on medium, you could probably beat the game with level 5 everything. I saw somebody do it. I saw somebody beat the game with level, was it level 5 armor, maybe level 6, and like level 3 to 5 weapons for the most part. Upgrade system should be 10% for the first 5 levels. They already had a model for the Fire Ant Queen. They just didn't put it in the game. On medium, I can confirm you can beat it with tier 2 armor. And then you play on WoW mode, and it's like, man, I was basically at a point where I was like, I feel like I have to have roly-poly armor, because if I miss a single perfect block, I'm going to lose 3/4 of my health. And then if I can't heal, I'm dead. Like, so it's like insanely punishing, but only because the enemies are they're damage sponges and they're dealing 50% more damage. Like, it's making the game annoying. It's not making it harder. Like, I'll literally kill the enemy. It's just I might die a couple times doing it. Grind for killing the Black Widow to get a weapon that doesn't even kill like a spear. Well, the Black Widows don't drop. How many Black Widows do you have to kill what's the average drop rate for Black Widow Venom? Like 25% or something? But that's the thing. If you're still enjoying Grounded, keep playing it. Play it until you get bored of it. Then go play something else. I had to kill 14 Black Widows before I could craft the dagger. Holy cow. I got lucky. The first one I killed gave me 3, and then it took me I think I had to kill 3 or 4 more before I got enough. I only had to kill 6. Do you know they only respawn every like 7 in-game days? And then people are talking about shields. I want to upgrade my shield. Do you know what happens if you want to upgrade your shield? You know what they're going to do? They're going to nerf the shields that you have now. They're going to nerf the shields that you have now, and you're going to have to upgrade them to get them back where they are now. Do you want that? Do you want to have to upgrade your shield 9 times to get back to where it is now? No, you don't. I already beat Raft. I might play it again at some point. I don't know. Raft's kind of like Grounded. After you beat Raft, like, it's a story. You know what's going to happen. People don't understand that a game isn't a marriage. You don't have to keep playing a game once you're bored. If you get bored, you play a new game. Right. Are you completely done with Grounded? I am not I'm going to when the PTS opens up in 2 weeks, I'm going to see what's in it. I don't expect it to change my mind. And I'm not completely done with it 100%. I'm not going to be playing it or making videos for it. Although I probably should mention, I think I have YouTube Shorts scheduled through like the entire next week. So more likely than not, there's going to be tons of YouTube Shorts, that are going to have Grounded stuff in them or in the background, because I'm not going to not post them because they're already scheduled.